Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cacophony, where half of us are infected and have some kind of cough. I'm Jelo, and with me I got.
Wolf.
A bedridden glucose guardian.
And I go by whiskey.
Alright, and once again we are traveling into the past, however, we are traveling less into the past because this time we're doing episode 3. So forget all episode 4. Imagine it does not exist.
Not this again.
Nope. Back in the blue box, glucose.
No.
All right. Well, with that, let's just hop into it. Wow, I am not good tonight. Episode 3 started off with something of a in media res, where both the airships are flying by and the plan's laid out. Ruby, Juniper, and Aesop's are going to the mine to clear out a Geist. And with that, it opens up with a new song called Touch the Sky. Yeah, do we have any kind of thoughts about that? I thought it was pretty cool.
It's really light and jazzy compared to the last few songs we've had. Like, look at Volume 4 to Volume 6's music. Volume 4 was mostly kind of edgy with a few bright spots in between. Volume 6 was mostly kind of downbeat music like Forever Fall and Indomitable. And this is just really upbeat, jazzy, and it's setting a tone early on that this is going to be a quote unquote happy volume.
I agree. I think that's what they were going for. In the lyrics, which we can put a link in here for the lyrics. Helena's had done that and put it on her channel, so we'll do that for you.
Praise
but it's the beginning goes, I looked in a mirror.
What if I decide to link to some other person's video? Maybe I'll link to Flint's video.
Demon, how could you?
We don't need to start a war between Helena and Flint. It's terrifying.
So just the sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
No, I just went ahead and listened back to it again. You've changed your name so much on Discord. You want to go by sucrose, whatever?
Glucose works.
That's what I thought.
It's an in-joke. I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah, please do. Anyway, so it's definitely more upbeat. Because Volume 5 did have a lot of those darker songs. And then 6, like you were saying, has some of those somber songs. So I'm very curious to see what kind of tone this is meaning to set.
Well, I think, right, if I can interrupt.
Because,
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll stop. I'll wait. Go ahead.
Well, no, this is even trying to set a tone, because it does set a tone for the rest of the episode. Because this episode does go fairly well. It's very lighthearted, as opposed to, excluding Crow and his issues. But other than that, it's a very well done episode with the music.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
go ahead. I'll wait.
I'm sorry. We keep doing this, but I hate this tangled game we play. But this episode, especially with the soundtrack, it gives you the vibe that, in spite of the situation, that Team RWBY and Crow aren't really in real danger.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to go for.
And I feel like that's something that the episode was trying to set, that this was an episode about growth, about how they've changed from a good 3-4 volumes ago. And it's a very lighthearted, the whole volume's been this way thus far, but it's very lighthearted, it's more comedic, and like I said, the music is more upbeat, it's jazzy, it's got a optimistic tone. The character interactions are all positive for the most part.
Are you trying to say the whole volume's been lighthearted so far?
As a general rule, yes. There's been some somber stuff, but especially the last episode episode 2 and episode 3, there's
Yeah,
been a lot
okay,
more
yeah.
I mean, even the whole volume, there's a lot more physical comedy with Penny and
Yeah, I
you
get what
know,
you're coming from now.
something we'll be talking about later in this episode that everybody knows about.
Right.
Like
No.
it's very chipper.
Yeah.
I think, right, like this song isn't meant for an entire volume setup, right? I don't think the entire volume is going to be more chipper and more upbeat, but I do think this song is more geared towards this specific moment, right? Like it's nice for them to personally just have this, right? Like everything they've been doing up to this point, everything they've gone through, it's nice to kind of get back to where they originally started at, just going off, doing a mission, fighting Grim, and just being helpful, right?
Right.
I think that's the kind of the focus it means to set and what it wants you to focus on. Like this is for Team RWBY and Team Junior a nice just back to basics feel, a nice moment of, hey, this is what we came here for. This is what we wanted to do and what we originally wanted to be huntresses and huntsmen for.
I agree.
This.
Yeah.
Now that does, however, mean like, you know, looking at that like this, you know, I think again that's why I say it's focused on this moment and not so much the volume as a whole, because I do think the volume as a whole will grow to be more quote unquote darker or more somber later as we get we go on.
Because the future's different,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak.
There's a lot of threads that are going to go down. You can see that.
But you were starting off with the lyrics. Did we still want to talk about those?
Well, do you have anything more to say about it?
I got nothing.
Can't wait to hear the full song, just like the
Yeah,
intro.
I'm already ready for the actual album.
Yeah, can't have to wait another year for the album to come out, you know?
Maybe they'll have it out quicker this time.
Press
Right.
out.
Doubt that.
Segueing on, I mentioned something that has people very happy lately.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Let's talk about everyone's favorite useless lesbian.
Weiss?
The other useless lesbian.
Yeah.
Oh.
the blonde useless lesbian.
John?
Useless heterosexuals are a totally different thing entirely, but I digress. No, we're the bees, not the bees. You know, Nick Cage is screaming about the bees.
The bees.
It was just a cute scene, and like I said, it kind of adds to the very lighthearted, very upbeat tone of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it does, and I think that's what this episode was really good at. It just did a lot of these little scenes that it took a few moments on, got what said, for like, there's a little bit of Weiss and SDC, a little bit about the fondness, etc., etc. And it's just
always been good at those small character interactions, though. Like
it
always.
It is huge on those small character interactions, those small subtle details,
like,
which I'm a huge fan of.
I know people love to shit on volumes 4 and 5, but that's one of the things that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed volume 4 and 5 so much, was we got so many of those just small character interactions.
I suppose I just really noticed it this time, so I wanted to bring it up.
Oh, sure. Like, you know, for me, right, like, this was a nice moment. Like, I'm not a big shipping fan. I don't care about shipping one way or the other. So for me, it's just...
Me neither, but
I don't care about even, you know, it's just, it doesn't affect me. I don't care one way or the other, so it's not a big deal to me. But I'm glad that, you know, hey, it's there. It's a nice moment. Cool.
It's cute.
Mm-hmm.
It is cute.
I also liked that it confirmed my headcanon that Yang is useless at flirting with people she's actually interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, that assumes she's interested. Who knows?
Of course, right.
The epic debate years in the making by Miles and Carrie.
I come from the future.
Let's see.
I've already seen something in a future episode coming from the future that tells me that the bees are dead.
Oh no!
The cold killed them.
Oh
as
no!
was predicted.
Yeah, we didn't donate enough money to save the bees.
Mm-hmm.
Tragic. Absolutely tragic.
Truly, it is.
Can we get a Pyrrha scream emoji in the chat?
Oh gosh. No, so I do want to talk. I know. So
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
DC issue that came out the day we're airing, would that be acceptable to talk about here, or since that's future?
Yeah, we'll cover it in a different episode.
Okay, because
We're,
it's
we're just trying to do the stuff on the show right now.
Yeah, I understand.
So with that,
I hated this though. I hated watching that though.
oh,
What specifically did you hate?
Yang has always been, in my opinion, she has always been extremely confident. You saw that entirely in volumes 1 through 3. She had her moments where she was scared, but she was that big sister, that confident character. But seeing her break down like that was just so weird. And
I can understand that.
But I'd think
I'd
guess
feel
I'm
the
stuttering
same
this
way,
afternoon.
but the only reason that I don't really have a problem with it is it was played entirely for comedy.
That too. I guess
Well,
me saying I hate it is an exaggeration.
Yeah, like it would be one thing if just like we suddenly had Yang just breaking down crying for no discernible reason, but like just Yang having a little moment of gay panic, that was fine. I thought it was funny. It got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, that's completely
the
fair.
way that I kind of look at it is it's a little something different that she's perhaps never done, and that is be attracted to someone in a extremely serious manner. And
The
hush,
goddamn
Wolf.
government's putting chemicals in the flowers and turning the bees gays.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's
but
my
that's
take
what
on
I'm saying.
that.
Yeah, no, but like, I've never been a shipper, never been a bees fan. That's probably
Hmm.
part of the reason I didn't care for it too much.
All right, that's fair.
It did feel kind of forced in my opinion.
Well,
But
before we get too much into the shipping debate,
let's-
perhaps we
let's
move
not
on.
talk about that.
let's not.
Yeah.
I can see it now. This will be
Yeah.
the only comments we get is talking about the shipping wars.
We can always have a future episode where we do that.
Oh
yeah.
no!
I think we had a past episode about
You
shipping.
did.
Actually,
We did have an
did.
episode about
We
shipping,
can
and I'm pretty
always
sure I was
revisit
on it.
Episode
Always
10, I believe
revisit
you
it.
were actually.
Oh yeah, I just remember being a disgusting mess of a Pyrrha stan, an absolute creature.
all right, right, back on track. Let's talk a bit about Ruby's talk about Ironwood. I like this here because they immediately address something that happened in the last episode and
Mhm.
has a lot of impact on how things are going to go forward.
And let me just say, I knew a lot of people leading up to this episode, like the usual naysayers, that were like, "Oh, watch this never get addressed. Watch nobody ever talk about the fact that Ruby is doing the exact same shit she got mad at Oz for doing."
Yeah,
And
there's a
they
lot.
did.
Yeah, there's a lot of talking about how there's this hero-centered morality and how it's bad that they gave Osmond crap for doing something and then did the exact same thing and they got scot-free. Well, no, this is showing that this weighs on them. This is an issue. This is something that they're going to focus on and work through. And there's also some different opinions here. I've seen that Weiss and Blake are of the opinion they're not quite sure about Ironwood. They don't know to trust him. It's okay, sure. We'll take it slow. Ruby herself is unsure about her decision, and Yang seems to just dislike it.
I mean, she was the one who originally told Oz, right? Like, hey, no lies between us. Tell us the truth. We need to know. We want to know. We should know to be able to better help you because we are allies in this, right? And she was the
Right.
one who first pulled out a weapon on Oz and Crow when they found out that Oz lied to them again. Like, she was always the one who's most upset about that. And she's always been the one who's most focused on, hey, trust. I need that. And it makes sense considering, you know, her past with
does.
her mom, right? And I like the fact that she's the one to, you know, say to Ruby, like, how did Oscar feel about what you did? Like, she's the one who brings it up. I like that. A lot of people give Yang shit quote unquote lying about her mom when we don't really know if that's the case ever. So
It's
I like
not the case, by the way.
it's probably it's
I feel
most
like
it's more than likely not, but still I love the
the
fact
case
that
with Yang and her mom is it's probably more of a subject people just don't approach and
Well,
she
it's
doesn't bring up.
I just think it was something that I'm talking about, like
Yeah.
specifically Raven being the fall maiden or the spring maiden.
Spring Maiden.
Spring.
Yeah, sorry, wrong one. Raven being the spring maiden and the vault, like I think that's just a thing of it didn't get brought up, so it wasn't talked about.
Yeah.
Not so much
Yeah.
that
I think
he
it was-
lied.
Personally, I think it's just an off-screen deal.
Yeah, and not even going into the idea of lie by omission and all that nonsense. Point is I like the fact that based on Yang's past with her mom and everything she's been through, I like the fact that she's the one to bring up Oscar and she's the one to bring up the subject in the first place, because this is something that is very relatable to her and very specific to her and very important to her about trust and lying.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm surprised that she was the only one to call Ruby out on it, though. Like, I was expecting maybe Weiss to, because, all of her interactions with Ironwood in the show have been a net positive. Like, in Volume 4 at Legion Ball,
It's
he
the only
stood up
time
for her.
she's really interacted with him though is those 2 times in Volume 4. Once when he was in her father's study, and then at that ball, that charity ball, right?
It just seems like, given the dynamic between them at that
Yeah.
point, I feel like she would trust him more. But I can understand that Yang being the primary one, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that she was the only one to express some doubts about it.
Personally, I understand Blake's hesitance the most.
Oh yeah.
That one does make sense.
Yeah. Blake is the one I would expect to be like, maybe that was a good idea.
I'm very curious if we'll get to see anything from Jean, Nora, and Ren on this, because we've seen something as far as of this episode, episode 3. We've seen Team Ruby's reactions and we've seen Oscar's feeling on it, but we haven't seen Team Junior's reaction of it.
Yeah.
I suppose that's something that'll kind of come up in the future. Do we have
I
anything
do
more
hope so.
there?
I do hope so.
Now, I said let's not get into a shipping war, but let's
Uh-oh.
talk about something that some people have seen as shipping. That's Crow's interaction with Clover. In
Okay.
it, they get into this quick fight with the guys that they're going after, and during it, Crow's semblance goes off, and then he says, "Oh, hey, sorry I almost got you killed because of my semblance," and Clover's like, "Hey, man, it's cool. I got my own semblance."
Just the look of sheer devastation on Crow's
Yeah.
face. Like, that is the look of a man who has, at least for a moment, lost all will to live. He's just like, I can hear the fucking Huey gunships in his ears and the machine guns firing off.
That is the watch people die inside subreddit
Mhm.
reaction right there.
Yeah.
But this is the only shipwise comment I'll say about it. But after that episode aired, I went to the RWBY discussion sub, the main sub or whatever, and I said, "Oh boy, time for another ship to be made," and I got downvoted to hell. So I saved myself and deleted the comment. But still, and that's why I don't participate in the discussion subs, is because I'm so critical, and I like my karma.
I mean,
Alright.
warm take coming here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, first of all, I don't like Clover. He's on his cop shit, and I want to punch him
Thank
in the
you.
face. And I don't trust him. Look at that face and tell me you can trust that face. Tell me.
I don't trust that face.
Exactly.
So
He is a cop. He is worse than a cop. He is, and may God forgive me for uttering this phrase, a pig. But no, he
I
just
trust issues with the Aesops in general.
I don't
Oh, yeah.
have issues
Everyone
with
does.
the Aesops
Everyone
themselves.
does.
It's
Everyone
just Clover.
assumes.
I like the Aesops. Well, I don't like them necessarily, but I don't dislike them. But Clover just, I feel like they tried so hard to just make him look like obviously just neon sign over his head, I'm going to betray you.
Agreed. I mean, I think if you go to round two, genuinely, right? I think you can query anyone in the RWBY fandom and say, "Hey, looking at Aesop's, do you think one of them is going to betray, the rest of our group? And who do you think it's going to be?" I think a majority will probably say Clover, but you'll probably get some who say, Harriet and Marrow and Vine and Hammer Mama.
Well, I mean, Harriet's fucking dead. Let's just get that out of the way
Yeah.
now. Shit.
Maybe.
Her existence in this show thus far has made it clear to me.
Aesop's member.
I mean, they killed my favorite character, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I did like.
I wouldn't be surprised if Marrow
I
ends
might be
up
2
dead
for 2
either.
on this.
Sorry. What?
Say again.
I might, I did like Pyrrha too, so I might end up being 2 for 2 on this. We'll see.
Yep, exactly.
Oof.
I mean, Pierre had enough flags to start, communicating with them.
What is it the video says? She had enough death flags to communicate in Samaflange.
Semaphore, yeah.
Semaphore, whatever.
Yeah.
No, see, the fucking Walking Dead characterization and character focus, I just knew in that moment. But back on topic, Aesop's, they're all cops. They cannot be trusted.
All right.
Back
I
on
want to
topic,
trust
Clover
Marrow,
and Crow.
but that's it. Clover and Crow.
Yes.
regardless.
I'll give a quick thing on that.
Okay, go ahead. Seniority first.
Right. With this, I definitely agree with the idea that Crow is devastated, and the reason for this is Crow sees a quote-unquote better version of himself. The Aesops are stark, kept together. It's him, but his semblance is actually good. They got they're Ironwood's top dogs. They've got everything. And Crow's just there. His team has fallen apart either through death or cowardice or whatever Ty is doing. I still don't know.
Being a staying-at-home dad.
But
taking care
there's
of
no one.
His best life.
Taking care of Zwei is a full-time job.
He's got his flower garden to take care of, all right?
Right. But anyways, Stark's falling apart and all that while the Aesops are great. And that's kind of just shown Crow that he's again in life been completely and totally screwed.
Boy's just ugly crying in the booth right now.
You can also relate it to the arc he may have had last volume, because we saw Crow at his lowest point, definitely.
Yeah, he was less than a couple days ago completely has world torn apart.
He had his world torn apart. He was passed out drunk on his student's sister's house's steps. So, and he has to deal with these kids taking charge, and he's obviously dealing with the fact that my nieces are going to pass me. There's nothing I can do about it. And then he's also got someone with a team that works amazing together. So it wouldn't be surprising for me that Crow feels outdated, or he feels like he's past his prime, or he just feels useless.
Useless is definitely up there.
He's just like, right?
He's
because he lost his semblance of place and belonging in the world currently.
Right.
Oz gave him a reason to do what he did, and now he doesn't have that reason anymore. So
he placed his, like he said, I'm probably skipping the quote, but he said something like, no one wanted me, and you were the only one that took me in, or something like that.
Right.
So,
and a lot of this is why I want Clover to be the traitor. It's because if Crow can do that and see that Clover, despite having everything, threw it away for whatever Salem offers, Crow can kindly see that, yeah, he's kind of screwed on all that stuff, but he's stuck it out, and that makes him 10 times the man that Clover is, should
I
he
would
be a
like that.
traitor.
I'm telling you now. I'm calling it now. I've said it before. I'll continue to say it. Team Ruby and Junior get really attached to the Aesop's people, and Crow doesn't. And Crow eventually finds out that one or all of them are planning on betraying Ironwood. He tries to prove it. They cover it up. He gets called out on it. Team Ruby and Junior turn on him a little bit more, and he's cast out somewhat. And that's how he ends up with Robin Hill. And then they're all doing their thing. And then Team Ruby and Junior eventually figure out, hey, we were wrong. Aesop's did betray us, and Crow comes in to save the day.
As much as I would like to see that happen, I don't want to see that happen just because of.
You just don't want to see Crow be happy. You're out. Get off this cast. Get out of here.
Let my man.
Oh my god!
He actually did it. The absolute mad lad. The absolute mad lad.
No, I do want to see Crow be happy because
Mm-hmm.
I think the only time we've seen him smile this episode prior is when he's interacted with Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the scene of, and for some reason, the scene of her just jumping up on him in like the third episode of Volume 3 really sticks out to me. But that's just besides the point. As much as I like your theory, Wolf, I don't want to see it happen because of how unhappy it would make Crow. Because I love Crow.
That's fair. That is completely fair.
I don't want to see him bullied anymore.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've still got money on that. He's finally dead this volume.
I'm telling you.
Like,
Oof.
there's no way he can survive this. There's no way. If he does, I will eat my hat.
To be fair, I used to say, right, like my money was on Maria first because I figured she was going to take more of the mentor role, but considering she's taken a more of a back seat this volume so far, maybe I'm wrong at this point. I'm not entirely sure.
That being said, leave my disaster uncle alone.
I still have my money on Maria though, but we'll see.
Depends if she comes back into focus, I'd say.
She comes back just to die.
Oof. Don't do that.
It wouldn't surprise me if Crow does end up dying at one point or another. I would be upset about it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
Because he has the role of eccentric mentor, and those normally die off as per tropes rules.
Alright, well, speaking of Maria, let's talk about her friend and what he has done for our heroes and the weapon upgrades.
My boy, he finally got a landing strategy. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of my son.
On Arcus, thank the bus driver.
Oh dear, the Fortnite memes.
Where are we dropping, boys? No, I do love the new designs. You know, they grew on me. And one that I don't see commented on a lot that I think was a very nice touch is if you look at Ren's design, he has his dad's knife on his arm now.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I think a lot of people pointed that out in the concept art too.
Yeah.
Ren's upgrade weapons, I think, saw the most changes because I actually watched that part like 3 times and noted everything I saw.
Yeah, that definitely adds a lot of utility and stuff that I think he needs.
Yeah, because as before, he just had... I'm sorry, I interrupted you again.
No, it's fine. Interruptions happen. It's part of the podcast.
But before, if you remember, Stormflower was just those 2 SMGs with those forward knives.
Yeah.
But now those said forward knives extend on some sort of zip line, and he can pull himself towards the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the pistol model is different if you look at it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's either it's semi-automatic now, as opposed to it being automatic before.
I will technically say this is a downgrade, which is something of it's a curse of the SMG in fiction to be balanced among other weapons.
Why would you say it's a downgrade?
Mhm.
Out of curiosity, because
Well,
all
in
we've
short,
seen- yeah.
short 3 bullets will do more damage than 1 large bullet. It's
Yeah.
just how video games have taught
Yeah.
people that stuff. Kind of like how shotguns will, in fact, shoot over 5 feet.
Yeah, you're not shooting confetti past 5 feet.
Mhm.
I will say though,
It does sound like
silly
he fired
boy,
a higher caliber, though, in my opinion.
the silly boy in me is glad that they actually kept a similar model of gun for the models. The old ones were
Yeah.
basically a 1911 lookalike, and now they're Auto Magnum 5s.
Yeah, I'm not too upset about it. It's just
I like the
one of
upgrade.
those realism things coming in.
Yeah.
Maybe it has an automatic mode and maybe it has a semi-automatic mode, or maybe there's both.
Actual
Mhm.
fire selectors in RWBY? Gas.
Oh.
We see a lot more.
Get out of here with your good ideas.
Ren out here with an actual safety on his gun. Blasphemous.
What was that, Wolf?
So I'll come in and say, like, we seem to be seeing a lot more dust usage. Like Yang's new upgrade to her weapon
Yes.
employs dust. Ren is the only one, as far as I can tell, who's not using dust as of now, because we have Jean using gravity dust. We have,
And hard light dust, yeah.
Mhm.
and we have, and the other characters have used dust in the past. I know Blake's used dust. Weiss has always used dust, and Ruby's used dust in the past as well, sparingly.
Right.
As of now, Ren seems to be the only one who hasn't yet, which is something I find interesting. But I like
Well,
the
he
changes
still although it hasn't come out, he still does have the higher aura techniques of being
Yes.
able to project it and such.
This
Give
is
me
true.
the friggin' Hokuto no Shinken thing that he used to be able to do. Like, bring that
He
back.
did that once, I think, and that was during initiation.
Yeah,
Mm.
bring that back. I liked that.
It'd be interesting to see.
Give
it now.
Ren a good fight.
I'd really love to see it now, since we have the new software and everything, and just how everything
Mhm.
looks. I bet that would look really nice now.
Yeah, Ren be out
Yeah.
here like, you are already dead.
I'd love to see him just finally really throw down.
I
No,
am
he just throws his guns to the side and just starts
Pulls
Bruce
out a little
Lee.
knife. Let's go.
I could see that actually. If he's just disarmed, he just takes out and acts like nothing happened.
Such is life.
I'm holding out hope, though, that Yang's upgrade, because I know we saw in the intro that she shot a fireball,
Oh yeah, that could still be there.
but we
And
didn't
I'm
see it this
wondering
episode.
I'm wondering if there are more upgrades. I wonder if Blake
Yeah.
still has something extra.
Because we
thought
didn't
perhaps-
see Blake, other than the repair to Gimbelstraub. We didn't see
Yeah.
Nora and we
Yeah.
didn't see Weiss.
I mean, Pietro
Mhm.
did talk about how he had other ideas, for them,
Suggestions, yeah.
So we might see more
Mhm.
stuff, but this is just the basic stuff they had time for before this
Right.
mission, I suppose.
I
Which
hope
was
she
still
gets
interesting.
wrist rockets so I can dub over the Battlefront 2 meme.
Watch those wrist rockets!
That's all I'm hoping for. Please, Rooster Teeth.
Nah, Yang getting two-step goodbye made me a very happy boy.
But yeah, no, it looks like they're just upping her damage output this volume, and that's really all I need from her.
The fact that she doesn't finger snap to detonate them is the biggest travesty I've ever seen.
Oh.
Yet.
Yes.
Give me a sassy
Yeah.
ass V snap detonation and life will be complete.
She could do something like that. Seems like a Yang thing.
She's saving the snap for Mercury.
Don't hurt my boy.
Thanos
what-
Yang. Thanos Yang.
What about Ruby? We haven't talked about her. I mean, I know it's basic, but
It's
hey.
very basic.
Yeah,
They can
the,
really
It can
the
turn.
head of Crescent Rose can now flip. We saw it
Yeah.
flip 180 degrees.
Mhm.
So
I think it's mostly a utility thing.
yeah, it looks like more like a utility thing than anything else.
And I think in a way that's kind of fair because Crescent Rose is really her baby and her
Yeah.
kind of deal, and it's Crescent Rose. You really don't want to mess with it.
About the
Being-
only problem that she needed to solve is that a scythe especially the design of Crescent Rose is normally a single edge blade that
Mhm.
can only cut in one direction, and that's toward the user.
Right.
So being able to turn it now, she can actually make swings that go outward.
In the
That does
volume
help.
4 character short, we saw a third alternate form to Crescent Rose.
Yeah, the
that we've
Right.
never
Warglaive.
seen again. Yeah, the War Scythe, but we've never seen that
It
again.
was used slightly on the Argus Limited to alter movement
Was
on
it?
it, but yeah,
I
it's
didn't see that.
very small.
I guess I'm just an idiot.
No, you're
Well,
not. It's really easy to miss, and I only know because I spend too much time on
I'll
Ruby.
probably have to.
and Warglaive was pretty cool. I wish we would get more use out of it.
Okay. Do you want to talk
Only other
about?
thing
Nope. Go ahead.
Other
Before I move on.
One thing I do like to see was on Crescent Rose would be, it not being bolt action, but that's
It
really.
seems to almost change between bolt action and semi.
I know. They can't
So,
make up their minds.
Just turn into a Ventores, and it's fully
because
automatic
we saw
now.
in this same episode, she was, I don't know if it's prop surfing or bunny hopping all the way down from the plane, but there it
Yeah.
was semi-automatic. But then she throws down the blade and uses the in the caves, and now it's bolt action. So
It's both.
I mean, there is precedent for there being a cyclic action and a semi-automatic action in a firearm. The thing is, that was a shotgun, and that's the the Spaz 12 is considered one of the most unreliable shotguns on the planet. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even go there.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Aesops before Glucose starts talking some
no,
weapon
I was
nut
done.
stuff.
I was done. I was done.
I wasn't, but let's stop.
So, Aesop's,
So how about
I
the?
loved the tune they played here. It's very upbeat and very, I just love the upbeat tune here. It was very fun. I feel like it suits the Aesops, right?
Mhm.
But,
It feels kind of
go ahead.
professional though, in a way.
It reminded me. It felt kind of superhero-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bit. It might be me, but it felt like that to me.
I thought you were going to say something else, and I was going to agree with you. I do agree with you still yet, but I thought you were going to say, I don't know why, but I had a very Super Smash Brothers feel vibe kind of in the song. I don't know why.
Everyone is here.
It kind of gave off that feeling, though, of that very upbeat tune. I don't know why it did, but it did. Maybe that's just me, though, as well.
If I may speak about my opinion of the Aesops, besides the fact that they're cops,
Mm-hmm.
Please do.
Elm was surprisingly disappointing.
Oof.
Like, I'm pretty sure that people weren't expecting her semblance to be sticky
Rooting
feet.
herself in place.
Yeah, like it's not bad.
Like her name implies.
I mean,
It's
an elm
practical,
tree.
but
yeah, she does kind of have the name Elm, like the elm tree, so it
Yeah.
kind of makes sense. She's
It
a
just-
tree, unmoving tree.
It's boring.
It's just not exciting. Yeah.
and I remember people were confused because Vine has a similar semblance with his arms, where they like project out like an auric projection,
Mhm.
to the point where people thought that he actually. I know for a while after
Right.
the episode first dropped, people thought that he had just given Vine. I mean, Vine had given Elm the feats.
I think they figured out a new animation and wanted to reuse it.
Yeah, I think it's a bit ridiculous, but Harriet's
Yeah.
weapon. I was not expecting this, but I actually do like it.
Mhm.
It is kind of interesting,
I mean,
and it works with her semblance.
It's extremely impractical in the grand scheme of things, but I do like it. Like a deployable exosuit. The
Yeah,
whole
or a
point of
couple
exo-
of,
Hang on. Excuse me. An exosuit is ridiculous. What about the boomerang?
Okay,
Yeah.
the
We're a
boomerang
couple
assault
parts
rifle.
off from an Iron Man armor. Yeah, no, let's talk about the boomerang.
I'll have you know that the bladed boomerang axe assault rifle thing is the best weapon out of all the Aesop's weapons, and you can't tell me otherwise.
it's very.
I don't know. The
creative.
flishing pole's pretty great.
Fishing pole is stupid.
But
Makes
it's
me
great.
hate Clover even more.
I love the fact that they have very unique weapons, right? And Harris continued to be my favorite, but I think Marrow definitely has the most creative and unique weapon to Ruby, right? Like his weapon, I think, feels the most Ruby, right?
Right.
at the
Just
same time,
outlandish.
I still
Okay,
like
you got a
Clover's
point.
fishing pole, right? Because it just feels like, yeah, that fits him. That is exactly something I could see for him. And it still seems like, yeah, this is a weapon because you can see it's all metal. It has a spike on the end of it. Apparently has a dust cartridge as well for something. We're not sure what yet. Like, I like that. It fits and it feels ridiculous, but it doesn't feel completely out of place for RWBY, considering we have seen a trumpet as a weapon.
And I will say that it actually, when you think about it, it does fit in with Clover's whole luck motif.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing I know from growing up in the Deep South, I fished a lot. Casting, like, there's a technique to it, but it's a matter of luck if you actually catch anything.
Okay,
So
that's what
kind
I
of-
was trying to figure out. Because when I was watching this stuff back, I noticed there was a couple things on his outfit, that related to luck. The rabbit's foot, the
Yeah.
shamrock. But I had no idea if a fishing pole had anything to do with luck.
Well,
like you can set out the best bait you have and
Yeah.
get out on a nice quiet rowboat. You can sit there all day and you still might not catch something.
Yeah, and I've fished before, so
Right. It also has a little bit to do with how they're all based off of Aesop's fables, and he's the fisherman.
yeah, from the Fisherman's Tale, yeah. So it's
why didn't I
directly
put this
related
together first?
to that.
Like
They're all
this
based
stuff
off that.
should be available. Yeah.
But I think the semblances for them, like semblance-wise, I think Marrow's was the most unique, right? Or the most interesting to see, right?
Did we ever actually get a definitive thing from Kirby on what it was? Or
Not
it was-
yet. I have a feeling that it's going to come up again, though. So
What have we pieced together so far as a fandom?
Zawardo. That is
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, fair. I think that
The-
about covers it. It's just he
the
looks at
prevailing
something,
theory
tells it to
now-
stay, and he can make it stay.
The prevailing theory now is that, like you can tell a dog to sit, stay, fetch, all that. People are saying that they think his semblance is a mirrored command. Like if you've ever watched Naruto and Shikamaru, the Shadow Ninja dude,
Mhm.
Yes, I'm
Like-
aware.
something like that is what a lot of people are theorizing now.
The question is just does it only work on Grim, or can it work on people as well?
We'll find out eventually, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Interesting.
I've seen
Also, there-
people. I've seen like every other day. There's been a new idea for his semblance, and I've just given up on keeping track of it.
And it'd also be
Yeah.
interesting if can he only tell things to stay, or can he do other commands as well too?
Yeah.
Things we don't know.
Can I just say they're also really pushing the dog thing on him? His weapon's name is Fetch.
If
His
Kirby very
weapon's name is Fetch?
Yes.
Kirby,
That's kind of racist, not gonna lie.
Kirby turning out to be very racist towards the Faunus. I think we found the racism problem in, Remnant. It's the people who created it.
I
No,
mean,
no,
a
if I
menagerie
were-
is an exhibit to
Yes,
keep
this is true.
exotic animals.
If I were
Cool.
Marrow, I would be lodging an HR complaint right now.
If I were the Faunus in general, I'd be lodging an HR complaint.
No, it's just I'm imagining this poor boy. He's like, "Oh, this is cool. Well, what's it called? Oh, it's called Fetch." Am I a joke to you? Yes.
He is.
Well,
at
yes,
least
he
the rest
is
of
a joke to
Aesop's,
most.
Unfortunately.
I mean, it doesn't even fit the weapon type. It's a boomerang.
Well, it
You're not
comes back
supposed
to him.
Fetch boomerang. No, you don't fetch boomerangs though.
He's a dog,
don't?
though. He would still
Does the
try
boomerang
to fetch it.
fetch itself?
Yes.
He's a dog, though. He would still try to fetch it, so therefore fetch.
Yeah, if you throw something, I bet if I took a boomerang and threw it, my dog would go for it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
My dog wouldn't. He's lazy as shit. I love you, Scooter. Don't look at me like that.
Right.
Okay. But the
Um,
dynamic of anyway, let's get back on topic before we go any
Yeah.
further off topic.
Yeah.
The Aesop combat was something I really enjoyed because I think it demonstrated the highest amount of teamwork we've seen, the highest level of teamwork we've seen so far in this show.
Right, I
Um,
liked it.
Because all they had to do was they just had to call out each other's names and they just suddenly knew what they needed to do.
Mhm.
I guess that's maybe something they just picked up from being on the field together for years, or maybe it was just drilled into them. I don't know. But between
A bit of both.
yeah, probably. but between the music, the just ridiculousness of the fight itself, the juggling of the dust, and we have our huntsman in training being fanboying over it. It was a pretty nice moment, in my opinion.
I mean, it kind of shows us like, hey, this is the level we could expect potentially from Ruby
That's
and Junior, right? Like,
yeah,
this is what they could eventually be
Yeah.
as a
yeah.
team, as a unit. Because we've seen a lot of pro solo huntsmen, but we've never
Mhm.
seen a team of huntsmen doing what a team of huntsmen can do after they've
Exactly.
graduated and had a couple of years in the field together.
So
it's nice to
if you
finally
go
see
back
that.
to like volumes 2 and 3, you remember that they had their own like combination name attacks. So what
Yeah.
was it? I think it was like one was Freezer Burn, one was
The
Bumblebee.
ship names:
Why am I forgetting this? Yeah, they're the ship names.
Checkmate,
Um,
Ladybug.
Arcos. Anyway, but it wouldn't surprise me this volume if we see some more of those team attacks and they're just calling each other's names out instead of using those combo names. Didn't
They
they?
could do that. They could be kind of looking up to the Aesops and pick up a few things like that.
I kind of like the idea of them keeping the combo names though, just for quirkiness factor.
Oh yeah,
This is
definitely.
true.
Team Ruby's anything but quirky.
But she
All right.
quirky though.
Everything
So how about let's end this episode with one last thing, and that being when Harriet saw Ruby's semblance in action, she said it would seem to be more going on there than just speed.
Okay.
Any fun speculation there?
I have been validated at last. I have always said that Ruby semblance is not speed, it is particle dissemination.
I mean, I don't think you've
That
been validated, but you have a leg up in saying that it's not speed, anyways. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
particle
ever
dissemination yet.
since Volume 4 pre Volume 4 short, where she
yes.
started turning into a hurricane of petals.
Yeah.
I forgot where I saw this before, but there was a character in a show or a video game or something that his whole thing was he could turn into mist and reform somewhere else.
There
That's a few
was
different things.
Crow didn't
Probably
even
not
call
a
her semblance speed. He called it bursting into rose petals in Volume 4, and that talk around the campfire.
Interesting.
And that's why I think it's just a very specific form of particle dissemination where she just turns into flower petals.
All right. That seems the most logical one.
I actually want to kind of segue into something here because I was wanting to point this out at the end. This is a good example of this too, but I actually want to point out as well that we had a lot of what I feel are just small but really help to flesh out the world, more world building moments. In the fact that we had the mention of the Atlesian huntsmen who were there
Yes.
before Team Ruby. We had the idea of aura, right? Because we see everyone's landing strategy, and we see Blake bring up the new scroll with the aura readouts on it, and we see that semblances do take from your aura. This was something that was never explicitly, as far as I remember, confirmed, but now it is, right? Because we see it in the show. We also see that hey, Yang's missing aura, but she didn't use her semblance, so apparently force and momentum and how she stopped herself does affect aura, does affect you, and can take away some of your aura. Like, it's nice to see those things. And as well, we had the little talk about the faunus and some backstory on that as well. It's nice to see those things because it just helps to flesh out the world, and as someone who loves world building and character stuff, that's what I'm here for. That's my favorite thing, right? I hope we get to see more of that, so good job. You're doing great with it so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the whole semblances using aura was confirmed in the companion guide, but I don't think people want to pay $30 just to have something like that confirmed.
I did.
I
I mean,
did
there's
too.
a Google Doc on the sub now, so.
Yeah, I could probably go under my bed and pull out the guide right now.
I was a little disappointed in it, but anyways. But
yeah, it was pretty disappointing. It was extremely
as a lore book, I was disappointed in it, to be clear.
Right.
But yeah, like, it's nice to just see that stuff in the show and have those things that may not have been explicitly confirmed be confirmed now, or things that were ideas and everyone assumed were true and more than likely the case, be the case. It's just nice. Keep doing that.
I think that's what this volume is really doing well. It's slowed down to where its plot is still moving, but they're able to explore some.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe, seeing the pace of this volume is in, that I was right on the money about the Atlas art being 2 volumes.
Oh yeah. I
Because it
agree.
seems like what they're doing, at least for right now, is they have a good bit of action, then some talking, then action, then talking.
Yeah.
Unless we have a huge jump in the last 6 or 7 episodes, I completely agree.
I hope they don't have a huge jump. I'd be
I
extremely
do too.
disappointed.
I do as well. I really hope they don't. I would rather see them stretch Atlas out into 2 volumes, to be quite honest.
I think everyone would.
I think we'll probably in this volume at least, stay on the Solitos as a continent, because obviously this episode we weren't in Atlas.
Right.
But I'm very interested to see the disparities between Mantle and the city of Atlas. That will be very interesting when it comes up.
Yeah, because the only actual glimpse of Atlas itself we've seen on the inside is from
The kingdom?
Weiss's time there.
And
Yeah, the floating city.
the academy, from
Yeah,
what
that's
we
what I meant to say.
inside it.
All right then. Is there any more burning things you want to say about episode 3?
It was good.
It was pretty good, yeah.
It was a pretty good episode.
All
Don't have
right
any
then.
strong feelings on it either way.
Well, in that case, this has been the Cacophony. We hang out in the Crow's Nest Discord, which just got our fancy banner today through Nitro.
Yeah.
So
Woo!
yeah, if you want to come hang out, we talk RWBY. We also have some writing as well as a few other things that we do.
They're going to shove
we'll
fate
put
down your throat. Don't do it.
glucose. 20 lashings for that.
No, make me.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, we will put the something that is called a link. I'm falling apart. Someone
There'll
help.
be a link to the Crow's Nest Discord in the description below. You can find us, all of us there, and talk with us and chat with us if you would like. With that said, Jelo was your host. As much of a mess as he has been, I have been Wolf, and we were joined also by
Glucose.
And whiskey.
Thanks, Wolf. That's why I pay ya.
We thank you all for watching. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.